This video is how to control your mind. And this is going to be a very special video for me because I go back to when I used to write down all of these goals on a piece of paper. And I would see these goals and I'd feel so motivated. And then every single day would feel like a broken record and I'll be in the same place, living the same life. And then I would see everyone around me who I thought I was so much more capable than just progressing and reaching all of these goals. And I used to think to myself, why am I still in the same position? If you watch the end of this video, you are going to be able to come out of that hole and actually start progressing in your own life because you have to break it down. And this is what this video is exactly for. Now, I want to share this quote with you. Your vision only sticks if it hurts not to chase it. And I'm going to share with you the overview and go in depth into this because I wrote down a lot of notes and I really want to make sure I cover every single point when I speak about this. Now, the 9 points I'm going to overview is 95% of who we are is memorized behavior, the trap of fear and imagination, the illusion of guarantees, the daily process, breaking the cycle, the power of vision, unlearning before learning, from victim to creator, living by the future, not the past. Now, the reason I say that 95% of who you are is memorized behavior is because most of who you are today is not conscious choice. It's automatic. Your emotions, your habits, and beliefs are wired into you like a computer program. You wake up, react, and repeat yesterday over and over again. And that's why you feel that frustration because your body craves progress, but you're still stuck in the same place. Why? Because of your habits. Now, to change your life, you must change your programming. That starts with your habits because your habits dictate your reality. You need to understand that your reality is a byproduct of your habits. Your habits are a byproduct of your actions, and your actions, they stem from your thoughts. Now, you brush your teeth every single day. You don't brush your teeth every single day because you feel motivated or you feel like it, but because the pain of having to go to a dentist, having cavities in your mouth is much worse than brushing your teeth in that moment. You have a shower every single day because, not because you feel super motivated when you're feeling super tired, you've had a long day, you want to have a shower. It's just that the pain of smelling and feeling sticky and feeling gross is much worse than actually having the shower. So which is why I go back to the start. Your vision only sticks if it hurts not to chase it. And just remember that for you to actually go ahead and do that action is that you must have convinced yourself first to why you're actually doing it. Now, if you want to get in shape, you must first have convinced yourself that you can believe you can get in shape. Because for you to do great things, you need to believe you can do great things first. Now, the second one is the trap of fear and imagination. Now, I used to live in a constant state of anxiety. I hated my present and I feared my future. But what I didn't realize was that most of my suffering wasn't even real. It was imagined. I conditioned my body to live in fear by constantly picturing the worst outcome. Every day I was affirming it with my limitations just to feel right. The truth is, why choose the worst case scenario? Why not choose the best case scenario? And I go back to when I was working in retail, I always go to this point because that was one of my biggest fears because I felt like I had the capacity to speak. I felt like I had the capacity to impact. I felt like I had the capacity to do great things because I'll go into a different retail store where I was working and I'll see someone and I think, wait, no offense to you, but I feel like I have so much more abilities than you and we're in the same place. There's a big disconnect. And I used to look outside of this window and there would be like these nice cars and people, and I would just see people living the life that I wanted to live and with the freedom that I wanted. And I just thought, I don't want this to be the rest of my life. And then I would think about the future and then it would never seem bright because I would base it on logic on where I was now. I'm working in retail, doing the same things. And that was creating that vision of the future which I had, and it really, really scared me. But when I finally understood what I'm about to tell you now, is that this future that you want is created with the things that you do today, which is why it's so important to understand what is this goal that you want, and you have to focus on the inputs. Now, picture this. Every time you get anxiety is because you start to think, will this outcome ever come? Now, the way this outcome comes about is with the daily actions, but you have to make sure that your actions are in congruency with this outcome that you want. Let me clarify that. Now, let's just say, simply put, it could be any goal. Let's just say this goal is getting in shape. Now, if you want to get in shape and you go to the gym, you eat right, well, you don't have to worry about if you're going to get in shape. You just have to worry about, did I go to the gym? Did I eat right? And if the answer is yes, you live in congruency, in alignment, and eventually it's a matter of time before you hit your goal. Now, if you want to get in shape and you're eating like shit, you're not going to the gym, well, you're not going to lose weight. So when you think about the future, you start to get anxiety because you're not living in congruency, you're not living in alignment, so you're going the completely opposite direction, so you're never going to get this outcome. So then what ends up happening is you go into the past and then you start to beat yourself up because you think, oh, if only I should have done this differently. And then you live in a constant state of shame, guilt, and regret. And that only just makes you feel worse and worse and worse, and it worsens your experience of life. Which is why I told you guys, you have to learn to live in the present by making sure you do what you have to do today to give you the outcome that you want. That's why your habits are so important. You didn't just randomly start brushing your teeth. There was a point of time that you were taught to brush your teeth with the very reason that if you didn't, your teeth will have to go through, you will get cavities, you would have to basically get your teeth removed, and we didn't want that. So we didn't automatically always brush our teeth consistently. It was just a matter of time before it became a habit. Like anything else, you have to be very aware until it becomes a habit, and then you will eventually get the result that you want. Now, the illusion of guarantees. We all want guarantees. We want to know the outcome before we start, but life doesn't work like that. Think of it like building a house. If you ask, will this house get built? You overwhelm yourself. The question is, will I keep laying bricks? If you do, the house will be built. It's not about controlling the outcome. It's about controlling your actions. And that's pretty much tied in with what I just mentioned before. You shouldn't focus on, will I get this outcome? You're trying to focus on something that you cannot control. You're trying to wait for a guarantee. Now, let me ask you this. Can you guarantee that you will wake up tomorrow? You can't. You're already thinking about next week's problems, next month's problems, next year's problems when you haven't even gone through today. Because remember, the way that you feel and the way that you think, it creates your state of being. Now, the way that you think and feel eventually will influence the things that you do, and the things that you do will become habits, and the habits, like I mentioned before, will create your reality. Now, if you want to change that, you have to work backwards. So you have to convince yourself always, which is why you have to protect that feeling, and you have to go into a high frequency state, which I'm going to go into later on. A high frequency state is when you normally feel super optimistic, when everything seems like it's going your way, when everything makes sense. And when you're in a low frequency state is when you're feeling pessimistic, low, lost and confused. Now, you're never going to stay on one frequency. You're never going to feel super optimistic. You're never going to always feel super sad. They're just moments. Now, the question is, when things don't really go your way, you don't have a bad life. You're having bad moments. Now, the question is, how can I recreate good moments? And even when you are going through bad moments, which we all will encounter, don't beat yourself up. Why am I going through bad moments? If you never experienced what a bad moment is, then you wouldn't know what good is. Life would just be life. The whole reason you want this good moment is because you know what it feels like, and you know what a bad moment feels like. Now, that's the law of polarity. Now, the daily process. This is one of the most important things I need you guys to understand, because this is a single thing that has changed my life, and I teach all of my clients this. All of my students who apply this change their life drastically. Now, the reason that most people don't change their lives is because they have this ego that they think they know everything, that they feel like no one can tell them anything. Now, since the outcomes aren't guaranteed, the only thing you can guarantee is your process. Transformation comes down to the habits you repeat every single day. Now, wake up early. Discipline your mind before the world distracts you. This is so important. This is why I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. Not because I want to, because you finally get to choose what you want over your emotions in that moment. Because sometimes we feel so clouded by this emotion that we act based upon it. We are humans. We are meant to feel emotional. We're meant to feel sad. We're meant to feel upset. But acting based on that emotion is weakness. And that's why 95% of people don't have the outcome that they want, because they are very weak people. And we've been conditioned to want comfort, to want everything easy, which is why I tell you guys, you have to choose your heart. You can choose the heart of waking up early, going for your dreams every single day, training, or you can choose the heart of enjoying everything now, having everything easy, but then when you wake up at the age of 50 and realize that you have not accomplished anything with your life and you've been living the same life since you were 17, then you'll be choosing the heart of regret. And I can tell you that weighs a lot heavier, because I woke up at the age of 25 and I wish I would have woken up at the age of 15 like many people do. But the best time to start was 10 years ago. The next best time to start is today. Now, self-development and reading. Feed your mind the knowledge that shapes your belief. You need to understand that. Who are you? Most people don't know the answer to that very simple question. You think you know who you are, but you are just a build-up of ideas, of knowledge that has been passed out onto you by your parents, by your religion, and then you take it as true. But the thing is, when was the last time you actually questioned it? Now we live in a society that if you give an opinion, People are afraid of speaking their opinion just in case people don't like them, or you might end up getting killed. Now, this is the thing. You have to realize why you are doing what you're doing. If not, that is not your belief. And the thing is, sometimes you live within these limiting beliefs that the moment you start to question them and you ask yourself, can I do that? And you show yourself that you can, you start to realize, what else can I do? Which is why you need to read books, because it gives you a whole different perspective on life. Because when I read books, and it took an author 30 years to construct this one book, and I read 10 books, now I've got 300 years of knowledge, 300 years of different perspectives. Now let me give you an example. This, on your side, it looks like a 9. On my side, it looks like a 6. I can argue with you all day and tell you this is a 6, and you can argue it's a 9. But once you understand and see all perspectives, you can see it that it's both a 9 and a 6. Now you get to choose based on what benefits you the most. Now, training and movement. Build physical strength to support mental strength. This is very important, because if you don't know how to conquer self, you will never be able to you will be conquered by self. Like, think about it. You want to be a great student. You want to be a great partner. You want to be a great friend, a great business owner. But if you're a very bad version of you, you're going to be a very bad version of everything else. Because when you get into the best shape of your life, people will respect you more, whether you like it or not. For the very simple reason that it shows that you are disciplined, it shows that you're committed, it shows that you are not lazy. Because you would respect yourself more. Because no one ever wakes up and says, I want to be more out of shape than I was yesterday. No one wants that. But the thing is, everyone says they want better, but the moment it's time to go and get better, I'll go tomorrow, they start to feel overwhelmed. Why? Because all of a sudden, what you end up doing is that you don't realize, but you are actually addicted to the stress, to the negative thoughts, that self-sabotaging behaviors that you feel. That's why you keep on going back to it, because it's known. You know that, oh, I'm out of shape. Let me go to the gym. No, I'll go again tomorrow. You feel that shame, guilt, and regret, and you live that cycle again. It's known. It's familiar. But the moment you don't fall into that emotion, it's just like, wait, what's happening now? It creates an unknown. And that is scary, which is why it always calls back to, no, this isn't me. Let me go back to what I've always known, which is why you need to understand that if you are always doing the same things, you'll keep on creating the same life. The moment you start doing differently, you'll start creating a new life. But the thing is, you don't know where that's going, because if you did, you would have created it by now, which is why you need to develop delayed gratification, which is why getting in shape is exactly that. You go through stress, you tear your muscle fibers, it comes back stronger. The reason you haven't managed to progress is because the moment you get stressed, the moment you get overwhelmed, you run away, you go back to what you've always known. But like building a muscle physically is building that mental strength mentally. You have to go through stress, it creates a new area of development, and then it's just like, oh, I've been through this before, now you can withstand more stress, which is why your level of stress management will never surpass your level of success. Now, never break your word. This is what builds confidence. To yourself or to others, integrity is identity. Because the moment you learn to never break your word, you have this utmost belief in yourself, because you know that you're going to do everything that you say you are. But most people say, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to wake up early. You don't wake up early. You're constantly disrespecting yourself. So then whenever you want to go and achieve a bigger task, then you have this doubt that you couldn't even wake up early. You couldn't even do this. So now you doubt yourself constantly. Live in congruence. When your actions align with your values, you eliminate regret and move much closer to your future self. The daily process is your proof of progress. While outcomes may take months or years, your process is a win you can lock in today. It's all in the small wins. That creates fulfillment. Now, breaking the cycle. Every time you try to change, it feels uncomfortable. That's because you're breaking a pattern your body is addicted to. Normally you'd feel guilt, shame, or negativity. This is what I spoke about earlier. And then repeat the same behaviors when you refuse to react the same way. Your brain resists, but that's the exact moment of transformation. Discomfort means growth. Number 6, the power of vision. The uncommon advice isn't to just do more, it's to become more. Be the best version of you that you can possibly imagine. Act like him. The more you repeat this, the less you're living from the record of your past, and the more you're building a map for the future. Vision is not about fantasy, it's about identity. And this is so important, because you need to know what you're doing and why you are doing it. Because I remember when I wanted to get in shape, I couldn't really ever get in shape for the very simple reason that every time I went to the gym or I started to eat like a bodybuilder, I started to think, this is cringe. I'm pretending to be someone else. I'm begging this other person. But the outcome that you want is a byproduct of the actions that you do. So you have to focus on the actions, and it's going to feel very uncomfortable because you've never done it before. This is stupid. This isn't me. That is exactly what's going to give you what you want. So you have to focus on the actions, not on the outcome. 8, from victim to creator. The moment you realize that what you don't change, you are choosing. Everything shifts. You only get one life. Every choice is a creation. Stop being shaped by your past and environment. Start shaping yourself by your vision and decisions. That's when you become the creator of your life. You need to understand that it's so easy to say, oh, but I don't have money. Oh, but I don't have this. Oh, but I have that. You need to learn to adapt. You need to learn to be resourceful, because what you are not changing, you are choosing. And that is the truth, because everyone wants to be this victim, to feel sorry for themselves. You want everyone to have sympathy and empathy for you. I don't want to have empathy for you. I want to celebrate with you. What is the point of feeling sorry for you? You are still in that pain. I want you to get out there and be someone who you actually want to be. But the thing is, it gets uncomfortable. So you want to feel good for yourself. You want to feel productive for not doing anything. Oh, because I don't have money. Oh, because I don't have this. Find a way. What you are not changing, you are choosing. And that is the truth. Whatever you put the blame on, that's what has power. Put the blame on yourself and you now have the power back. Live by the future, not the past. If you're not being defined by your vision of the future, you will remain a prisoner of your past. Your past is a memory, your future is imagination, and you get to decide which one creates your identity. Discipline, vision, and action free you from the cycle. Discipline, vision, and action free you from the cycle. You stop being emotional and you start being intentional. Remember, you are not your emotions, you are your identity. I mentioned this before. You're going to feel sad, you're going to feel upset. You're going to be days where you're not going to feel motivated. That is normal, which is why you need discipline. Discipline is going to be the bridge between where you are and where you want to get to. You need to have a strong enough reason. You need to fall onto that reason every single time. You most likely have a job that you hate. You most likely go to school and you're doing a course that you hate. But the reason that you're going through, whether you feel motivated, sick, not sick, is because there's a very big reason behind it. The reason you go to school and college is probably because you don't want to upset your parents. And that pain is more than you going to school, going to college, going to university. The pain of you not having money to pay for your bills or basic necessities, have a roof over your head, is the very reason why you go to a job that you hate. You don't love going to your job every single day, yet you show up every single day. Why? Because you just think about it for a split second. If I don't go to work today, I won't get paid. If I don't get paid, then this is going to be the outcome. This is the same thing with your goals. The pain of you not chasing it must be greater than you chasing it. Because what will end up happening is, the moment you do give up, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel shame, guilt, and regret, because that why is going to come back. And then you're going to start again. Compound. Stick to it. Have that why. And that's what creates discipline. Your discipline. Now remember, smart people don't need information. They need accountability. You don't have an information issue. You have an application issue. That's why all my clients win. Every single one of them. Now this is David from the US. He just sent me this message randomly, and this is why I do everything that I do. This is a message from Estelle.
All my anxiety and past traumas, I feel like your words and your advice have definitely impacted me. This is something I've been discussing with therapists for years, but I don't think I could relate to therapists, what they were telling me to do. Of course, their approach is oh, you should do this or try that, or have you thought about this? But it doesn't hit the same when someone with a similar background to you says it to you and they know exactly what to do to get over it. So I really appreciate all your advice, and I've said this to my friends. I feel like you've given me the answers I've been looking for years. So I'm very grateful for that.
And now we have countless other testimonials, as you can see here.
Express my gratitude towards Suma. So I started working with him 3 weeks ago. I used to be a very shy person, even to talk in front of camera, because English ain't my first language. I used to live in constant fear and doubt, insecurities, and since working with him, he changed all of it. My whole life improved, mind, body, and spirit. More opportunities has arisen since working with him. I tripled my income, which is insane. I cannot believe it even now. My confidence is through the roof. I live in a high frequency where most of the time I feel beat. Hey guys, this video is to recommend my brother and friend.
And there's just so many more. And the ones that we have
What's going on,
coming in
people? It's
are
your boy
going to
Manny
be
Mitch,
crazy.
founder of the Streets Football, and I just want to say a big thank.
Now look, if you enjoyed this video, put down in the comment section below what was your biggest takeaway. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and if you want me to help you become your best version, become someone that stops procrastinating, someone who is tired of living underneath their potential, someone who's tired of being insecure, someone who's tired of just hiding and know that you have so much more to give and want to become that person that you are proud of, DM me the word ready on Instagram or book a call down below and we'll turn you into the person that you've always wanted to become. With that being said, that is Suno out. Love you guys. Let's go.